purpose and live your truth. Her speech is 6 to 8 minutes, and her number one goal is she will try to stay in time.
Josh just gave my speech, and beautifully. But isn't it interesting how sometimes we do end up speaking on similar subjects? And finding my purpose is what I want to speak about. I started out my speech with the idea of living my truth, because a few things have happened recently. And so I may take a little segue here, since Josh did such a good job on that, of saying that something interesting happened to my family this last couple of weeks, and it happened regarding Toastmasters. So I thought I would share that with you. For those of you that don't know, in my speech last time, I talked about the day that my life went down, and one of the things that you said, Sam, is that I hadn't shared that with you. So I'll share it with you today, because I'll tell you a little bit about something that happened from that. I came home after 38 years of marriage, and my husband, unexpectedly, and my husband was dressed in women's clothes. And I then found out that he had lived a life with me as the most fantastic husband and the most wonderful father, but he had not lived his true purpose, because he had felt since he was 5, just like so many of them that you're starting to hear about now. This was before Caitlyn Jenner, before all of those things, but he really had, at 5 years old, had really realized that he was born in the wrong body. And so we lived together for about 8 years after finding that out, 9 years after finding that out. And it was horrible for him, because this was his worst fear, is that I would find out, that the kids would find out. So I am an extremely open person. I am a person who lives my truth. I mean, I'm going to be the same person wherever you see me. If you see me on a personal basis, or if you see me at church, or if you see me anywhere, I'm the same person, because I'm a pretty open person. But on this particular day, I was brought into a secret. My husband had not ever told anyone how he felt. My emotions were sadness and sorrow and hopelessness for him, imagining what it would be like to live your whole life that way. Of course it affected me. Of course I was asking a lot of questions myself about, what does this say about me? What is truth in our marriage? It just was so amazing. There was not any question about him being a man. I mean, to me, because he was very much a man. And so that was obviously a big question. But I was brought in on this secret because he wasn't ready for the world to know. And so I began living a lie, which I'd never done. And nobody knew. I did ask him that I'd be able to tell one person that I would feel comfortable with. And he allowed for me to tell my mother. My mother was great. I mean, she's that 92-year-old lady you met that day here. But still, she was the one, probably the most accepting of him. And that was good for me. As a matter of fact, she totally accepted him. And so when I had problems that I needed to go to her and say, I'm devastated, I'm crying because my husband is wanting to be a woman, she would say, "Oh, well, at least you're friends." And so it was a little frustrating sometimes, because I needed somebody to really vent with. So my kids didn't find out until this happened in 2001. They found out 2008. So living this lie with my children, they started seeing little problems in our marriage which they'd never seen. And so then, and they tended to blame me because their dad could do no wrong. And so finally I had it, and I took the biggest step forward for me because I went to my 2 children that were living by me and told them the situation. And then their response was not helpful to me, but understandable. And but then they told me that I shouldn't tell my other son. So I continued to, then once the kids knew, then I had to live a lie, and still am living a lie with all of the people that knew us forever, because they didn't want those people to disrespect their father. Their father now was at the point that he wanted to tell people too, but he was respecting their wishes. They didn't want their children to know. So we're all living with this elephant in the room, and here's me, this person that's lived my life as truth, and now I'm living this lie. Well, last week my granddaughter came across the speech that I gave about Bud. 16 years old. Oh my gosh, and so this is what happened to, and so then, since then I've been in, I was so apologetic, and talking to my son, they've all forgiven me for doing that. And so then the deal is, how do I start living my truth now? I believe that this can help people. I believe it can help people in my faith, because there's not just 1 or 2 people that are transgender. I believe it can help a lot of people. I started writing a book and stopped because I didn't want to hurt my children. So this is my question to you, and I'll give my other speech another time. How do you live your truth when everybody else wants to tuck it away and wants you to live your lie? Live a lie. Think about that and see where it compares in your life. Thank you. Oh, you're not there. You're not there.